The track record of insurance penetration is pretty poor in this country. When it comes to home insurance, the track record is even worst. Penetration of general insurance is just 1% in India. Only 3% homes are insured in this country. This is as against 90 to 97% penetration of insurance in countries like UK, Australia and China. What actually deters an average Indian to go for home insurance? Is this the cost of insurance in a price sensitive market like India? Are there instances of poor claim settlement that deters the average Indians? Whether there has been the lack of insurance awareness, have the insurance companies not gone for consumer awareness programs, something like what we have seen with mutual funds? Well, there are a combination of factors why an average Indian does not want to go for a home insurance. Well, today I have with me Syed Miraj Naqvi, CEO of RiskBirbal Insurance Brokers. We will try to explore why penetration of insurance has been so very poor in general and why home buyers are so reluctant to opt for what should be a necessity in terms of home insurance. Welcome, Mr. Naqvi. So, my first question would be that insurance penetration in general is very low in India. What are the reasons?
See, in general insurance, normally people understand only motor insurance and health insurance we are generally talking about. But there are several other policies like fire, transit insurance, liability insurance. These are actually connected to the corporate and businesses. So there, what I have recently understood, see, as far as the new startups are concerned, new MSMEs are there, around 2.5 CR MSMEs are connected, but because they are having a lot many transactions in cash and all, so the claim settlement would have been a very difficult process. So for that reason, since they are unable to take claims because they are unable to provide the documentation regarding for the valuation of the claim, so they generally do not take such policies.
What about the retail side? An
See,
average home buyer who buys a house that is the his life's costliest purchase, and yet he does not want to go for a home insurance.
see, this is because of the awareness. Still the awareness about the home insurance, lacking in India. So it requires to be more, people needs to be more educated about it.
But there is also an
And
added issue of cost consciousness. In a price sensitive market like India, people don't want to go for insurance. It is seen as an additional liability.
see, if we talk about the home insurance comes majorly insurance companies are selling home insurance through the loans through the bank assurance channel. So those properties which are actually being supported by the loan and the policy which are being provided by the banks are very very costly. But actually, dwelling policy, home insurances are very very cheap, because if we talk about the policy having content in the construction cost of around 1 crore, the probably the PM would be around 6,000 7,000 of a year, which is not a very big and huge amount to secure the assets which are very valuable to them. But again, the matter comes to the level that education and the information spread is not proper in the country. That is why people are not buying. However, there are few companies which are coming up with the online home insurances, which are, if you see the graph, it is increasing year on year. People are not taking home insurance as their support, and in future I believe home insurance is one of the policy which is actually a retail policy. And there are some other policies like shop insurance. Shop insurance is also related to this very small business owners. And there also, since the shop is having different occupancies, like every shop is having a different you know things they are selling, so that what they are keeping that in that building or in that area, defines the occupancy of the fire insurance policy or the insurance policy. So, depending on the area, locations, and the maintenance of the property, it generally gives higher premium. So that way, people are refraining from buying the shop insurance. But as now the information is being spread in every sense, not only the insurance, but now the information is on the tips of your finger. So people are now starting buying shop insurance also. And as far as the home insurance is concerned, that I already told that people are now there is increasing trend in buying home insurance.
What are the different kinds of home insurance options available in the market?
If somebody is of HNI category, then they can buy a very uh, is fully developed, and a lot of features are there in the policy, wherein they can take the jewelry cover also, they can take the cash in safe also, they can take this art insurance also, that. So there are various policies, but majorly they are divided into two things, two policies. One is the high-end policy, and second is the normal policy. So, what are the cost, as far as the cost and the value of the policy we are talking about? For the smaller segment, dwelling home insurance policies are very cheap in price.
Banks are always pushing to lenders to opt for an insurance added with the home loan. Still, the
Yeah,
penetration is pretty low. Is this the cost, or there is something more to it?
it is majorly cost. It is majorly cost because the policies, as I told you earlier, the policies which are being offered by the banks to the homeowners who are taking loans, their cost of the policy is very, very high, which is unnaturally high. Because if we compare that price of the insurance and the compare the price of the normal dwelling insurance, there's a huge much of difference. So that is why, because the requirement loan is the requirement of buyer, and that if you take this policy, then only you will get the loan, which is ethically not right. Bank generally by the requirement, for the requirement of that loan, they need to ensure that if something goes wrong to the buyer, then they should be able to recover their. So that is possible by the home insurance also, and the combination of few other policies, like they can buy term insurance, they can buy personal accident policy. If we cover all the three policies together, then that particular requirement of the bank will be sufficed, and the combination would be much cheaper than the offer what they are being what banks are making.
In Western countries, when somebody buys a house, it's quite common to have an home insurance added with the fact there is an insurance for theft, burglary. Still, I mean, today's home buyers are globally exposed. So it's not just about the lack of awareness, and still they are not opting for it.
See, lack of awareness is there in India, and as far as the theft and burglary cover, and there are some other covers also present in the policy, like uh, storm, flood, inundation. You will be surprised that inundation is something which is possible on the 10th floor also, because but people do not understand, and the time of flood they do not go for that claim, but there is a possibility by which you can take claims even in the high rise buildings also. And as far as people are reluctant to buy, it is not that, it is just that we have to convey the right information and in the right manner. It should be easier to convey. What I'm trying to say here, that as risk people also, the concept what we are following, that it should be very, very simple to convey, and in a very simple language to the customer, that what they are actually going to buy, how they have to buy, and uh, there must be a right method of buying any insurance policy. That includes home insurance also. So if people will understand the policy easily, then they will buy it also, because it is actually required. Because if I am buying my any home after spending a lot of money, lot of my savings, and that goes for the many years, we take loans for 20 years, 25 years, entire of our life generally goes with that. So we need to protect this property, and for that we need to understand the possible solution, and the possible solution is the insurance. So, but if you do not understand what are the terms of the insurance, then it will be very difficult, because as a buyer, I would be always, having apprehension. Then if we, even if we spend money, because we are already giving a lot of money as EMI to the loan, but and this an annual income, annual expense for the home insurance also. So they need to understand the easiness of the policy, because actually the policy design is very simple. Now, earlier there was a clause called under insurance that has also been removed from the dwelling policy. So there is no, possibility of reduction in claims. So these things should be properly communicated to the client, and this is possible by drafting a simple and by communicating it in a simple manner. And this is what we are also trying in our system, that we are just trying to convey it very simply, not only to the home insurance but other policies also. Those policies which are actually very difficult to understand, now we are making it very, very simple. So this is how I believe this is our contribution to the industry, that we are trying to making it simple. We are trying to reach out to the final customer, and convincing them about the benefits of the policy. I believe people like us, if they will start doing in the same taking efforts in the same manner, then in future I believe the insurance penetration in India would very, very, very high.
When you say lack of awareness, you are also accepting the fact that insurance sector has failed to create awareness. Something like we have seen with mutual fund, with their campaign mutual fund sahi hai. Has the insurance sector failed in its communication?
See, I would not say, because mutual fund and insurance are two different things. Mutual funds are generally can be judged easily, that how this particular fund is performing, and people who are actually selling the mutual fund can easily give the projection of the funds in the future, and that's a very simple 2 line 3 line communication. But when we talk about the insurance, uh, it is a difficult subject to understand, and difficult to convey also, because the coverage, every line, every word has some meaning in our policies. So the confidence, gaining confidence is very, very difficult. But the way insurance industry has performed after this formation of IRDA, that is tremendously good and commendable job they have done. But yes, one more thing which you need to understand, even though the penetration of insurance in India is very low, but again it is under top 10 countries across India, across globe. So it is not that we are performing bad, but yes, as we look into the population of our country and the huge numbers we are dealing with, it is taking some time. But in future, I am personally very much hopeful that this industry is going to grow like anything. And this is the industry which is growing rapidly every year. Almost 20% growth this industry is achieving, which is very good.
India stands as top 10 countries in terms of insurance. Is it because of the size of the demography or is it the penetration per capita?
See, as far as the volume is concerned, definitely contribution by the population is there. But as far as the per capita is concerned, that is also not very bad. But yes, it is required to be improved, and uh, I believe that it will happen soon, because as far as the per capita contribution of insurance is concerned, that are several other factors which are involved. If we take government policies, which government backed policies, then it increases, and if you remove the government backed policies, then it is very less. So the contribution from the other than the government sector is also required to be increased. And in future, I believe, as IRD is increasing the number of brokers, today almost 650 brokers are empaneled with IRDA. And there are 12 lakhs approximately agents are there who are working in the industry, and there are other professionals who are working in these companies like aggregators and all. So the numbers are increasing, and since this business is actually requiring not only online presence but requiring in-person discussions and expressions, so it requires a lot of efforts, but it will increase. I am very much hopeful in that.
As per a latest report, the penetration of general insurance in this country is just 1%. Only 3% houses are insured in this country. Doesn't it say a lot about the failure of the insurance sector as a whole?
I see the opportunity. I do not see the failure. I see the opportunity. So if it is only 1%, then 99% open green field is there. So the brokers like us will see how to convert it in the favor. But yes, I do not say that it is a failure. It is that there are few low hanging fruits, and there are few high hanging fruits. So initially, health is something more important than the property insurance. So people are grabbing on to that. And then the second stage is the property insurance and the home insurance and all. So I believe it will start gearing up, and in future you will see the growth.
What kind of communication campaign would you suggest to make people more aware about insurance in general and home insurance in particular?
See, in past few years, you might have noticed that catastrophic claims are very heavily impacted, uh, and there were very many losses. So, as far as fire, we say, so you would see fires losses in industries, but in homes, normally in dwellings, fire is incidents are not that much high. So what is the area where people are losing their assets? That is more of catastrophic losses. So if we put effort to communicate that catastrophic losses, flood, storms, earthquakes, if we cover these things and we focus on these areas, then probably people will start thinking more about it. So here is the communication area where we have to work on.
Finally, I would ask you any policy intervention you think is needed to make insurance more penetration into the masses.
So you're talking about the home insurance per se?
Home insurance in particular and insurance in general.
See, you may be having the information that motor insurance has increased because the government has made third party insurance as a mandatory insurance. So after that, people have taken the policies, and later on they have started taking the comprehensive policies also. Same way, if government can make something related to the health insurance, something related to the property insurance, if they start with the business houses first, with the companies, then later on you can reach to the individual level also. So if they push some compliance, or if they push some mandatory things, mandatory systems for the companies who are actually operating as manufacturing company. So see, the fire compliance are already there in the factories, but fire insurance is not mandatory. So that can be made mandatory first of all. Once the people will start using the corporate level, then they will take it to the home also, and they will start learning from there. And later on, then government should help providing home insurance to the people, as they are providing help in form of Ayushman and all. So when they will start, giving some help in buying policy at individual level, then people will start taking by themselves also, and they will increase the coverage. So I believe this is the change which government should think about it.
So this has been Syed Miraj Naqvi, who thinks low insurance penetration is an opportunity in this country. We have to see how far these assumptions, these expectations go. As far as Indian housing market is concerned, insurance penetration continues to be abysmally low. Insurance in general is just making inroads. Thank you, Mr. Naqvi.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks a lot.